In this chapter, we will talk about loops in Python. To get a better understanding of how loops work, we will first go through conditional statements and logical operators. We will use these when creating complex conditional statements. And once we're done with that, we will be explaining and demonstrating 3 different ways of writing loops. In the end, we will learn about the ternary operator. Starting with logical operators and conditional statements, we have the following symbols that we use in conditional statements. Less than or equal to, less than, greater than, less than or equal to. I made a mistake before, pardon. So we have less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, not equal to, and equal to. Now let's demonstrate some examples with these symbols, with these conditional conditions. So let's print out 5 is less than 6. This is going to return true. So with conditional statements, we have Boolean values. We have false or true, or 0. So we have false is 0, and true is 1, or any other number that is not 0. So as you can see, 5 less than 6 return true, which is a Boolean value. 10 greater than 11, which is false. Let's do 2 equal to 2, which is true. Then we have, moving on to greater than or equal to, let's say 2 is greater than or equal to 3, which is false. Let's do less than, 2 less than or equal to 3 is true. Then we have not equal to, so let's do 4 not equal to 2, or say 1 to change it up a little, which is true because 4 is not equal to 2 or equal to 1. We can also use strings in this case. So let's say ABC equals ABC. As you can see, it returns true because these strings are of the same length and have the same number of characters. And keep in mind, we can also use variables in conditional statements. Moving on, let's talk about logical operators. We have the following: not, and or. And as you can see, I wrote them in operator precedence. So not has the highest priority, then and has the second highest priority, and or has the lowest priority. And let's illustrate now with some examples with these what we just said. This time we'll use variables. So let's say our variable A equals true, variable B equals false. And we're going to print not A. So this is not true. Literally not true. So A is true, so not A is true. Let's do something with and now. So A and B, oops, I forgot A and B is false because with and logic, true and false yields false. And let's do something with false and false, which is false, and do true and true, which yields true. Now let's do or. So true or true is true, true or false yields false in or logic, and false or false yields false in or logic. Moving on, we can talk about now using parentheses in order to make more complex statements. So we can change the order of precedence in a conditional statement. So let's start off by making some variables, declaring some variables, pardon. So let's say 5, D is 5, E equals 1, F equals false. We're having a couple mix right here, as you can see. F, G equals Python. H equals sum, like the word sum in a string. And to make our job easier, let's have another variable. Let's call it z, which is going to have our complex statement inside it. All right, so let's type it out. So we're going to start off, we're going to make something quite complex here, which we don't recommend. It's not recommended actually to write such complex statements because you'll wind up getting confused in the end in your programs. So just if you're going to use complex statements, be sure you know what you're doing, because with the more complex the statement is, the more room there is for errors. All right, so let's do this. So let's do E less than or equal to D inside this not statement. Then we have and we're going to have G greater than or equal to H. And then we're going to keep that closed. And then we have or F. As you can see, their variables are being used here. And on the other side, we have 1. So we have a large and operation going on here with one side with 1, which, as we said before, is true, and it's always true. And on the other side, we have this big, complicated statement. So let's break this statement down. We're going to start, since we have parentheses, we have the order of operator precedence. So let's see. Let's start with this not statement right here. So we have not E less than or equal to D. This means not 1 less than or equal to 5. So this statement is true. And then we use not, which means we get false. So we're going to have false and whatever this is, which we're going to say right now. So D greater than or equal to H. So, sorry, G greater than or equal to H. G is a longer string than H, so we get true here. So we have false and true, which yields false. And then on the other side of this or statement, we have F, which is false. So we have false or false, which yields false in this whole parentheses section. And then we not that, which we get true. So not false is true. And then we have this whole side is true. And then we have this one, which, as I said before, keep repeating, is true. So we're going to print out our result, our variable. As you see, we get 1, which is true. And that concludes this section. We hope you tune in next time.